have two teams, two returning teams that is, or no, one returning team rather. We have Team Coastal Gaming on the blue team and XMS Gaming on the purple team. So I'm really curious to see what these two teams are going to bring out. We did see XMS Gaming in the last match going up against Russ is looking for a date. Unfortunately, we weren't able to pick up the win in that match. Let's see if they're going to be able to get their confidence up a bit with a win here that would really help them moving through the lower bracket. So I don't think I introduced my co-caster here today, Kodalok. He's brand new to the Amateur Open team, so if you want to go ahead and say hi.
Hi, Muddy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's not a problem. It's great to be casting with you. So we are seeing Ari, Swain, and Graves being banned out right away for Team Coastal. And Thresh and Shen being banned right now for XMS.
Yeah, Ari, Swain, and Graves, those are really obscure, and they look like they should be targeted bans against XMS. So it looks like Coastal has done their research, and it should be an interesting match to see what XMS has to respond with.
Yeah, they do. They did ban out Thresh and Shen. Not quite sure. They are going to ban out the Kassadin. I'm not quite sure who on Coastal is their mid laner, because we haven't seen them just yet. But that could be a target ban, or they just simply don't want the roam pressure that Kassadin can bring to a team.
Yes, Kassadin is quite annoying to lane against and quite annoying to play against as well. We see a Riven hover, and he does lock it in, so that might be a jungle Riven.
And Nami and Vayne right now being clicked on pretty quickly. Vayne, yeah, they're getting locked in within 10 seconds. When I see the quick lock-ins, the quick bans, I like to think that these teams have done their research. They know what they want to play against the enemy team. They know what they want to ban. They know what they got to do to be successful in their matches. So
that or they've probably prepared a team comp, or either practiced the comp or seen like firsthand that it does really well.
Yeah, especially newer teams that we aren't necessarily used to. They could have something up their sleeve that we're not quite familiar with. Like for example, Beach Kings Gaming last week, they pulled out an all support team comp. It didn't quite work for them, but it was something that I had talked to other players after, and they said, yeah, we practiced this and it normally works for us, but in the finals it didn't quite work for them.
And yeah, the level of coordination is really hard to see in this kind of level of play, but when it does come out, it's pretty amazing. And, you know, newer teams will have a little bit of a struggle, you know, just picking their best suits and not really looking for the overall team composition. But here it looks like that XMS is definitely ready and raring to go.
Yeah, we are seeing Sona and Tristana being locked in right now. That is some decent poke damage coming out. The Hymn of Valor as well as the explosive shot will be able to get some good trades off, and the sustain coming out from Sona in bottom lane is huge.
Definitely, and Tristana's E totally counters Nami's heal. So Nami won't be able to heal as much as she normally would against another ADC, but at the same time, she has an ultimate that's definitely comparable to Sona's.
Yeah, what we can also take a look at here is Zac is a champion that relies on regeneration and picking up those bloblets to be able to sustain himself up in lane, or more specifically in team fights where Tristana is going to be right there to use that explosive shot if she needs to cut that that regeneration in half. It's not as big, but it can still make a difference when Zac is running around team fights, able to pick up those bloblets and sustain himself up pretty nicely.
Yeah, I actually really like that Zac pick, because at the time he didn't know that the Nocturne was going to be locked in by Coastal, but he saw the Riven and knew that he needed to survive the early burst, while at the same time maintaining a team pressure fight. So obviously Sona's going to try to ult everybody that she can, but Zac's ultimate just gives him so much tenacity that he'll just go straight through it.
Yeah, Nocturne will get locked in right now for Coastal. And Syndra, Orianna, yeah, gonna get locked in. Little bit of fooling there for the stream. And it looks like there's your team comp for Coastal already. Got their Riven probably in the top lane, Sona and Tristana on the bottom, Nocturne in the jungle, and Orianna in the mid.
That Nocturne Orianna ultimate combo is just deadly, as he just rushes straight to the back line and she just wipes out the entire team. And Tristana with the cleanup is definitely well as well. Riven's ultimate, obviously adding a bit of AoE burst to that. But we see a lot of AoE return pressure from XMS here, with the Lissandra ult, the Zac ult, Jarvan's flag, obviously Nami's ultimate. Oh, TF.
Yeah, it definitely looks like XMS is gonna want to get some early pressure down. If they're able to use Kirito on that Jarvan to get some good ganks off and follow that up with a Destiny into a gate, that could be huge. That could be some double kills down in bottom lane, transition right to a dragon, and just like that, XMS has a decent gold lead.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why TF is one of the top bans. Just so much pressure all the time throughout the entire game. You really just don't know where he's going without the wards.
And those are your team comps locked in right now. We are seeing, looks like it's going to be Zac in the top lane, Santa on him. Sick going for the barrier on TF in that mid lane. He doesn't want to get bursted down, so he's going to opt to go for that. He is sacrificing a bit of kill potential in lane, but it's not huge. He does want to go for a bit more survivability rather than kill potential, so that's his option to go for that. And we're seeing a Jarvan in the jungle, Vayne and Nami in the bottom lane.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see mids start to go barrier to just kind of mitigate that early game burst. But I definitely want to talk about the Zac with Ignite. Normally Zac can take teleport or exhaust or even a barrier to kind of save his skin a little bit, but this Ignite definitely shows that he's aiming to win this lane and win it hard.
Yeah, if Santa on Zac is able to use that, I'm not quite sure what his Q is called, but if he's able to use that damage and able to sustain back up every time a Bloblet is dropped, Black Star on Riven is going to be able to get that damage, but it's just going to get sustained back up. But the return damage coming out from Santa on Zac, it's going to be huge also. So Zac is a champion you really can't ignore in that top lane. If he's able to farm up well, and it makes it really easy for him because he has a long range poke, or not quite mid-range poke ability.
It's a good range, yeah.
Yeah, he's able to poke decently well, as well as farm if he needs to. And since his abilities do cost health, then he doesn't have to worry about going in lane, so he can use that as much as he can. However, he does have to be wary of losing health, from using his abilities. That's where Black Star has to be aggressive to step on those bloblets so that Santa can't pick them up.
And it's really interesting too, because that's one of the greatest strengths that Riven has, is that she just doesn't use any resources other than cooldown. But with Zac's Stretching Strike and Unstable Matter, he can just top himself off and go right back into it. So we'll see a lot of jungle pressure early to see who gets the early advantage to snowball that lane.
Yeah, I definitely think the junglers are going to play a huge role in this game. If Torky Porky on Nocturne is able to get some good ganks off after he hits 6, he could really snowball one of his laners. Especially if he's able to get a level 1 to 3 gank on to Santa in that top lane. That'll give Black Star a really good advantage. Riven is a champion that is very strong in the early levels.
Yeah, I agree.
She's exceptionally strong during all points of the game, but levels 1 through 5 is where she excels, and that's where she needs to take her advantage.
And her base damages are so high. If you think about it, Zac's heal is based off of his current and his total HP. So he spends based on his current, and then heals based on his total. So he'll definitely stay in the mid-range to low range, which is exactly where Riven wants her opponents to be all the time.
Yeah, we are seeing that Tristana, which is a late game hyper carry. She has the highest attack range at level 18. I believe it's 859. I'm not 100% sure on that, but she has a considerable distance with that. And it's not to say that XMS can't do anything about it either. They do have Sick on Twisted Fate, who's able to get into that backline of the Destiny if he decides to use it for that. Santa can use the Elastic Slingshot to get in, as well as Kirito on Jarvan. The Demacian Standard, the Dragon Strike, into a Cataclysm can lock him up. But Jarvan's not necessarily the greatest champion for shutting down Tristana either, because she has that Rocket Jump and that Buster Shot.
That's true.
Two abilities being able to get herself out of the Cataclysm. Well, the Buster Shot will knock Kirito out of it, but the Rocket Jump will be able to displace herself and get her to safety.
If she's fast, she can actually knock out Zac out of the Elastic Slingshot. And the max range at level 18 is 703, which is bigger than Caitlyn and safe enough to hit Vayne while she's invisible.
Wow,
if they
I thought 800. That would have been huge.
Yeah, that would have been almost an entire screen, actually.
Yeah, that would have been pretty ridiculous. But that's not needless to say that Tristana is a very strong champion, as well as Vayne, though. Vayne right now is a very strong champion. She She did get nerfed a little bit with her final hour getting a cooldown increase, so she can't use it as often during the laning phase, but she is still that late game terror with the silver bolts and that mobility, and building attack speed on her is huge. It will proc those silver bolts quicker, and I think that's her greatest form of damage when she builds attack speed, as well as some movement
Right.
speed items like a Zephyr or a Phantom Dancer, or even both, really, to get that movement speed to be able to kite around the map. So I'm really curious to see how Korea is going to be able to play this one.
Yeah, I mean, Vayne is definitely an infighter, and she likes to get up close. And between Jarvan, Twisted Fate, and Zac, Coastal is going to have their hands full trying to keep track of everybody. Tristana's strength, though, is definitely staying far back out of the fight and just kind of taking pot shots where she can. So if Vayne gets the infight and gets in range, and she totally pulls it off with no Sona ult, that's definitely going to be a wipe. But if Tristana gets enough peel and she can just kind of sit back and right click to death everybody else, it's gonna be kind of amazing to watch that kind of carry.
Yeah, two late game carries coming out from both of these teams. I don't think the game is going to come down to which AD carry is going to carry harder. I think it's going to come more down to the early game that the junglers and the mid laners are going to put out. Calvin Dragon on Orianna right here will be able to get some decent roams off, but not as strong as the Destiny Gate from Sick.
But I do have to give a slight edge to XMS right here because they do have two skins, and skins make you so much better at this game.
Yeah, definitely the people that really like a champion or they'll invest the time into learning a champion will sometimes opt to go for a skin. Maybe they just have some leftover money, they're gonna pick up a skin. So we are seeing some standard starts out from both of these teams. Both AD carries going for the Doran's Blade. And
Lots of early pings.
we aren't seeing deep into the support tree on Epic Magnus on Sona. He doesn't have that Explorer's Ward or the Total Biscuit of Rejuvenation. He did pick up a Fairy Charm and a Rejuvenation Bead, so he's gonna look for that early
Oh,
Philosopher's Stone, and Magnus is
oh,
gonna get spotted here. He's gonna get
the face check.
immediately bursted down there, and that kill's gonna go over to Kirito on Jarvan.
You know what I bet would have saved him?
What would have saved him?
A skin.
A skin,
Skin.
definitely.
Skin would have saved him. Yep. Calling it right now.
A skin definitely would have given him enough survivability to be able to survive, as well as the confidence. Confidence is a big thing there.
That is key, if he had just walked just a little bit faster to get in that bush, he would have seen them coming, right? But
Yeah.
no skin. Blackstar G making this call to invade this red, just to match the purple side. Hopefully, that way, Torky Porky won't fall too far behind if they do invade. And they do ward it up, and it looks like they're going to take it and just trade buffs.
Yeah, it does look like Santa, though, is going to be going down to just check things out with that
Ooh.
red buff, and he is going to just drop down.
Oh!
It does get cleared out, though, by Team Coastal. They're just gonna, they're gonna take this red, like you said, just gonna exchange red buff. Santa's just gonna back off. Or no, he's just gonna hang around and see what they can do with that.
Yeah. It's putting some damage on Torky Porky. That early jungler sustain is so key. If they fall too low, it becomes very easy to invade them, and they definitely can't pull as many ganks off.
What we should notice here, Torky Porky didn't hit level 2. And we see some aggression going on at bottom. Ruckus popping that barrier. Gonna negate a lot of that early damage. Epic Magnus is going to be able to sustain it back up. He did start that Aria of Perseverance.
The ward goes down, and we see mid lane, Orianna actually opted to help Nocturne with his blue instead of picking up the early CS. TF's picked up an early level 2, and that'll definitely play a huge advantage as he picks up mana and wildcards.
Yeah, like I mentioned a bit earlier, Torky Porky didn't hit level 2 off clearing the red buff. He didn't clear the mini lizards, so he did get, I think it's about 85% of the way to level 2, but not quite level 2, so he wasn't able to get a second skill to help him with his clear a bit faster, so that set him a bit behind. And we
see Kirito.
We're seeing Kirito right now in that. Oh, we're seeing Kadem go down to Ruckus in that bottom lane. He's taking down really low. He's gonna have to flash away from this one. Korea is not gonna go onto that one.
Yeah, and we see him playing super safe. Vayne, although she has a very good late game, her early game mobility is pretty incomparable.
Yeah, right now there are no summoners onto Ruckus, but Magnus, wow, taking some decent damage. The E from Nami, the Tidecaller's Blessing, granting Korea on Vayne some extra magic damage on hit as well as the split.
I think somebody once did the math, and they found out that Sona has about 11 more HP, effective HP at level 1 than a melee minion. So, I mean,
Wow.
if Vayne can last hit minions, she can last hit Sona.
Yeah, Sona is a exceptionally squishy champion early on. If Magnus is able to play this properly with the Hymn of Valors and the Aria of Perseverance, going to be able to use that sustain. And he is taken really low right here. We are going to see Torky going into that bottom lane. Going to try to
Oh
secure a kill on the
my!
hybrid. And yeah, he's going to be able to get that last hit.
Excellent jungle pressure coming out from Torky Porky.
Rocket
And looking up,
Go ahead.
not quite. Looking up top, we see that Zac has pushed Riven all the way to her tower, and that sustain is definitely paying off for him. She's just tanking those minions like she don't care.
Yeah, we did talk a bit about how Riven would have to press her advantage early on, and right now she's only 3 CS ahead. So that's not what we like to see as an early pressure onto him. But then again, though, Santa is playing this really well, using that unstable matter and the stretching strike, being able to proc his passive where he's able to regen, and it's proving to be pretty troublesome for Blackstar right now. And he's going a bit aggressive onto him right here, but it's
that Riven damage.
Yeah, the trades are coming off pretty even right here.
And we see that Santa's really just getting all of his blobs, almost completely uncontested by Blackstar.
Yeah, Blackstar gonna look to go a bit aggressive here. And it's not too much gonna come out of that. Taking a look at the bottom lane farm, they are very even right now. Both the AD carries do have an assist. However, Korea right now does have a bit of a damage lead over Ruckus's Tristana. He does have a Dorn's Blade as well as a longsword, whereas Ruckus only has that Dorn's Blade.
Right, and it's a big point to note that even if you get a farm advantage in lane, it's not really apparent until you go back to buy. So, Rux here sitting on his gold, not able to use it quite yet from the early death.
We are seeing Kirito gonna use that Demacian standard and the Dragon Strike to get into that River Brush. Condemn going down onto Magnus, not gonna be able to stun him up here. And the Tide Commer's Blessing being used on Korea, able to dish out lots of damage onto the squishy Magnus that is Sona.
So much damage, so many deeps going down. And they just can't get close to the creep wave now, with Hybrid just zoning them out perfectly with that Tidecaller's Blessing.
In a bit of aggression, going down to the top lane though, Santa is looking to win this trade, and he's just going to sustain back up. No health pots left onto Blackstar's Riven, but there is, I believe, one remaining on Santa's Zac right here. Can't forget that he has that passive being able to sustain up, and I really think that Santa is playing this matchup very well. He's using that Zac to its fullest potential with the sustain from his passive, as well as the damage that he can put out.
And I think it's also really interesting that they both started regen bead with so many health pots. Neither were really looking to trade that far. They were just both looking to farm, basically. And so far, it looks like that Riven's definitely keeping up with the Zac. He's pushed in so far that he can't reach the CS.
And Korea picking up a nice kill onto Magnus there. He said, hey, look, he's at a position. I do have the kill potential here. My silver bolts will be enough, and he was able to pick up that kill. That's another kill, or that's his first kill of the game, rather, going down for him. And I'm not sure how much gold he's sitting on right now. He's sitting on 1,000 gold, so when he goes back, I believe he's going to be able to finish that Bilgewater Cutlass, if that's what he decides to go for.
Probably a Vamp Scepter for early sustain, but yeah, it was interesting to note that Nami wasn't even there. She was off warding, and he sees the opening, he just takes it, and that's a very key staple of good ADCs.
Yeah, that definitely shows Korea's mechanics on Vayne. He said, hey, look, I know I have the potential. I played enough Vayne. I know what she can and can't do, and he went in for the kill here. Tidecaller's Blessing being used on a hybrid. Try to get
Santa wanted to take that blue buff, but it looks like he's gonna suffice with a gank on his own lane. Is Blackstar gonna make it out? Stun.
Yeah, Blackstar trying to get a bit of return damage down onto him there, and we are seeing a lot of aggression on the entire map right now. The bottom and top lanes are just pushing their lane opponents, and they're forcing them to miss CMs.
And with so few lanes apart from bot lane, it's really interesting how XMS is just going so aggressive, pretty ham on all the lanes. Orianna's pushing to her tower, Zac is pushing Blackstar into his tower. Bot lane's just free to roam right there.
And a Hymn of Valor being used there by Magnus. Magnus is opting to max that Aria of Perseverance first for that extra sustain in lane, as well as the armor buff that armor and magic resist buff rather that you receive while the song's being played. And Torky Porky is gonna get some red buff procs onto Santa here. We see Calvin Dragon, the paranoia being used, but Santa's just gonna flash over. Calvin is gonna try to use that dissonance to try and catch up to him there, but he's just gonna
just short.
Aqua Prison landing onto Magnus under his own tower there. And Magnus is taking a lot of poke right now from Korea on Vayne. He's getting those 3 procs of the Silver Bolt, as well as using that Condemn to pretty much scare them away. He says, hey look, if you come a bit aggressive, I'm just going to condemn you into your own tower. And he's definitely showing his lane advantage. Torky Porky getting engaged on here. Destiny Gate being used there by Twisted Fate. And looks like they are just going to back into that one.
Jungle fight going down, and Torky Porky's going to go in. His ult is down, but he still has his flash up after not using it from Jarvan. Jarvan tries to go in. He's not 6 yet. Will he be able to make it out? It looks like Orianna's going to get one last auto off.
Yeah, the Ignite was ticking down. That auto was just enough to be able to finish him off, securing Calvin Dragon another kill.
And you know, I think it's kind of odd. Torky Porky almost killed Santa earlier, and he's definitely dying earlier, but he still just doesn't blow that flash. He's like a flash genius.
We're seeing some aggression going down. Ruckus and Epic getting some decent poke down onto Korea, taking him down to about half health. He does... I'm gonna check real quick. He might be running 6% lifesteal, which we are used to seeing. Yeah, he is running the 6% lifesteal Quince, which we are used to seeing on 80 carries when they start Doran's Blade, just for that extra sustain, as well as Hybrid being able to use that ebb and flow to sustain him up in lane.
At this point, I don't think there's much that bot can do apart from wait for jungler pressure, which is quite good from Nocturne, but she's falling slowly behind in CS, 30 behind at the moment.
Yeah, we
short DC.
Yeah, Calvin Dragon did DC for a bit, but he is back, so I don't think any harm was done there. Taking a look at the CS across the board, not too many advantages except for the mid lane and the bottom lane. We are seeing Sick on Twisted Fate right now. He has about a 20 CS lead on Calvin Dragon, and same with Korea. He's got about a 30 CS lead onto Ruckus. Ruckus' Tristan.
And you know, it's really smart between the junglers on where they're putting their pressure, because Noct hasn't been top all that much, because even if Zac does get fed, he's not going to be the one putting out all the damage. He's just kind of going to be sitting there face tanking everything.
And we are seeing a bit of aggression going down from Kirito in that bottom lane. In the bottom side jungle of oh god, I can't remember. Paranoia is going down. Sick is gonna pop that barrier. He's gonna use the wild cards behind him. Getting re-engaged by Kirito. The Cataclysm being used there. The gold card onto Calvin is gonna be enough to finish him. Torky Porky getting dropped really low. He's gonna be able to escape from that one, but a kill going down onto Sick.
It's a good thing he had flash for that fight, because he made it out alive. Oh. And they look like they're going to take Dragon right now, which is a great choice. All the lanes are back, and this will go pretty much uncontested.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this in Champ Select, how whichever team was able to get the early kills with the roam potential of the Nocturne or the Jarvan and the TF, they were going to be able to secure a Dragon. And that engage from Kirito with Sick, they were able to secure a kill onto Calvin, which then led them to a Dragon. Blackstar popping that ultimate on Riven there. He is ignited. He's gonna have to flash away though. Santa gonna use that stretching strike and finish off the kill.
Stretching strike for the stretching win. And yeah, that engage in middle was so clean. Jarvan landed absolutely all of his stuns, his CCs, his ultimate, Cataclysm straight on both of them. Orianna was gone from the beginning there.
And taking a look back at the CS right now, Korea still does have a really good advantage onto Ruckus. And if Korea and Hybrid in that bottom lane are able to put a lot of pressure, if they're able to take down that tower early or even secure 1 or 2 more kills, that could be huge for them. Especially Vayne being a super snowbally champion. She could dominate team fights for XMS Gaming right here.
Yeah, and if they take that tower, that's basically the scariest roam in the game. You have an ADC and a support with damage and CC coming out from who knows where. And
yeah, exactly. Being followed up with 6 poke, as well as Kirito being able to lock up an enemy team. Vayne is definitely a champion that you want to have CC with, so that she's able to get her maximum damage out and get those silver bolt procs and dish out tons of damage in team fights. So I really think right now XMS are in the driver's seat, and this is their game to throw. They really need to be careful about picking their fights, because if they get caught out by a paranoia and that burst damage from Orianna or Riven, it could turn the flow of this game around very quickly.
But you know, you said it's their game to throw. If we know anything about League, it's quite easy to throw.
Yeah.
And one wrong tower dive. Oh,
Condemn being
Condemn
used on
lands.
the Ruckus on the bottom lane. Cataclysm, but Ruckus is gonna flash out of that one. Destiny being used by Sick right there. He's doesn't have the gold card, but the red card is gonna get the slow. And Korea gonna be able to pick up that kill. Sick tanking a couple tower shots. Gonna get out of that one.
Whoa.
The Demacian stand into the Dragon Strike. Gonna be able to lock up Calvin there for a second. But not
Calvin
gonna
will be
able-
fine there.
Yeah, he's just gonna walk into that one.
I think the team realized that they still don't have the tier 1 down.
Yeah, they are gonna pick up that that tower kill. 150 gold going to each member of the team. And what's good to mention here, or to note, Torky Porky wasn't down in bottom lane. He was trying to make a play onto top lane to try and secure Blackstar a kill, but he wasn't there at bottom to be able to use that paranoia to hopefully turn around a kill for Team
Yeah.
Coastal.
I definitely think that XMS saw that, and after he went top, they just immediately shifted their focus down to bottom. And truth be told, even though they got a tower and a kill, only one person died. And, you know, it was a great Sona ult, it caught everybody in, and Orianna was there to back off the TF when he needed to. So not too big of a loss for Team Coastal.
Yeah, we are seeing Calvin right now being a bit aggressive in that mid lane. He does have that command shockwave available if he's gonna use it. He does have that ignite also, so he does have some pretty decent kill potential onto Sick right now.
See the junglers meeting up, just saying hi.
Yeah, being spotted in XMS Gaming jungle. We are seeing Torky Porky looking to make a gank. He does have that paranoia available.
Oh, Zach. Oh, XMS Santa sees it.
Paranoia being used, the command shockwave, gonna be able to secure a kill for Calvin. They're gonna try and back out of that one. Santa using that elastic slingshot, not quite getting in range.
Just putting some damage down there, hopefully. I think they'll probably both go back, though. Oh, maybe not.
We are 15 minutes into this game right now, and it is about a 4K gold lead for XMS Gaming. If they're able to push their advantage right now and take objectives and secure kills whenever possible, this game is in the bag for them. It's really up to Coastal right now. Oh, and as I'm saying that, Korea picked up a kill in the bot lane. Great play by him and Hybrid right there, but Torky Porky is coming down, and Korea, ooh, he's been a bit aggressive here. Gonna tank a tower shot, but he's gonna back into that one.
That was a really slick rocket jump. He got hit mid condemn, I think, and the stun wore off by the time he landed.
Yeah, great play there by Ruckus to know his champion and really think to himself, you know, I can use the rocket jump now and I'll be able to get away. Even though Korea was able to land that condemn, he still managed to get the rocket jump off. He was stunned, but like you said, it did wear off when he landed.
But you know, at this point, Vayne has a Bork. She's got 3 kills, no deaths, and that's one of the scariest things you can see in the mid game.
Yeah, Calvin, I'm going to take a look at Calvin Dragon right here. He has a Tear of the Goddess, and it looks like he might be going for an early Void Staff, because that's what a Blasting Wand and an Amp Tome builds into. I could be wrong on that one, though. We'll have to see as the game goes on. Aqua Prison landing under Ruckus in that bottom lane. There's no vision for Korea to land, and the amazing crescendo under the turret. Ruckus is going to look to go aggressive here. Final hour being popped. He's going to use that Blade of the Ruin King, and Korea is going to drop to Porky right there. Aqua Prison landing. And meanwhile, on the top lane, though, we are seeing Blackstar picking up a kill onto Kirito, but Porky is going to keep up the chase here. Hybrid has no mana right now, and Torky Porky is gonna be able to get off that unspeakable horror. Exhaust going down onto him. Ruckus, ooh, not quite able to get that kill, stolen away from Magnus.
You know, you said it was their game to throw, and that was a perfect example. Jarvan went in just a little too early, and Kiriko tanking that turret for just a bit too long as Riven got her ult off and made the kill. Zach just a little slow on that ult, but
and it looks like Team Coastal right here knows that the Dragon's gonna be up soon. There is a pink ward on it from XMS, but they're gonna hope to take this before XMS can even get there.
Sick coming around the back, possibly looking for a port, and the steal doesn't go down.
And going back to what we said about, oh, we're gonna see the Destiny going down. Kirito gonna try to get the command shockwave, landing on a stick there. Gonna try to get away from this one. Elastic slingshot being charged up by Santa, not quite able to land the stretching strike. Being able to slow down Calvin, enough for the gold card to land. Flash from Kirito being used. Gonna land off his EQ combo. He's gonna try to dive onto this one, but no, the unspeakable horror comes out, and he's gonna back away from that.
Meanwhile, mid lane with Nami. But no, bottom lane, that was an excellent engage, and you see Santa coming in through the Dragon Pit with all the vision given from Destiny. They knew exactly where to land their skill shots and where to go. That flash was pretty well predicted on the part of Kirito. At this point, Coastal just feels so unsafe. Their jungle is completely warded, and they can barely check a brush without fearing to die.
Yeah, and XMS right now going a bit aggressive here on the tower. Aqua Prison landing onto Porky, slingshot being used there. Kirito's going to engage onto that one. Cataclysm onto Porky, gonna secure them and kill. Santa picking up that one, and XMS could look to push their advantage right now while there is 2 down for Coastal, but no, they're just gonna back off from this one. They don't want to take any risks that they don't need to. They do have a 6k gold lead right now. They just want to say, hey guys, let's back off from this, regroup, buy, and push our advantage a bit later on. But we do see Korea roaming a bit into the jungle. He's gonna go a bit aggressive. Crescendo landing down. Aqua Prison locking up 2 members from Coastal, but Ruckus is gonna rocket jump in. He's gonna try to secure a kill onto Korea there. Korea's getting dropped really low right now, and he's just gonna get away from that one. Great disengage there by Hybrid on Nami.
That's probably a bit of an overextension by Korea, but he probably feels so confident with his Bork and his Zeal right now that it's probably a Vayne God.
And we are seeing right now a Lich Bane and a needlessly large rod for Sick. He is going to be doing some decent damage. If he's able to get a wild card or pick a card off, followed up with an auto attack, he's going to be doing some decent damage. That's also going to help with taking down turrets. They'll be able to push and poke really well. They could use the Sick on TF to use those wild cards to, you know, keep a distance, because that's going to be dealing a lot of damage. And then once they do decide to push down onto a turret, that Lich Bane is going to help a lot.
Oh, definitely. It's one of the unknown pieces of TF's damage, but if he lands at this point a stacked deck and a Lich Bane, it's about 330 bonus magic damage.
Yeah, and that can be huge for XMS when they look to push their advantage. Especially since now at this point they're going to look to be going for objectives and they're going to try and pick fights. Team Coastal wants to be a bit more defensive here and pick up any little advantage they can. They want to farm up, and if they see the opportunity, they're going to try and catch someone out with the Paranoia and the Command Shockwave, as well as the Crescendo. And the Black Star, he has a Bloodthirster right now. He's going to be able to do some decent damage at this point in the game. So it really all comes down to who's going to play their team comp better.
Definitely, and I think it's really interesting that with XMS's lead, they still haven't picked up an Oracles.
Yeah, Hybrid not opting to go for that. He has that Sightstone finished and that Philosopher's Stone, and he is sitting on another Ruby Crystal, and Rocket's being engaged down to in that mid lane. He's gonna get Cataclysm there. He did see him use the Rocket Juice. He's gonna Cataclysm the Paranoia, going down on the Sick here. Exhaust being used on a Kirito, but they're just gonna back over this. But Black Star going a bit aggressive here. The Broken Wings. Oh, the Command Shockwave! Not. I believe the damage did land onto Kirito.
Vayne coming in from the back. Oh, killing Rux, a kill on Magnus. Can she take down Porky?
Oh,
not quite.
She's gonna be able to pick up a triple kill. Gonna try to use those silver bolts as best as she can to get some good damage out. She does have her passive to get her some good movement speed. She's dealing lots of damage on a Black Star right here, but Black Star does have the shields from his E to be able to soak up a lot of that damage. So triple kill there coming out for Korea on Vayne.
Black Star is driven just too mobile, and we see that even though that fight wasn't going that well for XMS, that was actually a 3-for-1 trade in their favor just from the Vayne cleaning up.
And we are seeing Korea and Hybrid pushing down this mid tower with Santa, and I think they're going to be able to take this. We are seeing Team Coastal right now going they are going right to that mid lane. Yeah, they're going to be able to secure this, and yeah, they will just back away from that, securing 150 gold for their team. And XMS Gaming still in the driver's seat.
Yeah, there's not enough home guards out on that Team Coastal. Torky bought a set, but that was about it. Everybody else sitting on tier 1 or tier 2 boots. Riven's still on tier 1. Probably basing herself off of that easy mobility that she has in the kit.
Yeah, Korea gonna spot out Magnus in the bottom lane here, and he's gonna be able to pick himself up a kill. He's gonna turn his focus to Ruckus here, though. He doesn't have that condemn available for another 8 seconds. He's gonna get spotted.
Oh!
Ooh, the unspeakable
Oh!
horror, locking him up long enough to be able to get a kill for Ruckus there. Ruckus is 1-1, 116 CS. He doesn't have any big items completed yet, but once he does get that Infinity Edge, his damage is going to spike dramatically. With that Rapid Fire, he's going to dish out tons of DPS.
Yeah, he's got 1,200 in the bank, so we'll see if he goes for a Bloodthirster or just goes straight for the Infinity Edge.
And right now, I think that XMS should continue to push their advantage. Oh, we are seeing a disconnect coming out from Blackstar and Epic. Or... not quite sure here. Oh, it looks like...
Can we get a pause down?
by the looks of it, there might have been a forfeit. I'm gonna go ahead and check really quickly. I'm not 100% sure what's going on. Yeah, I think there was some disconnect problems.
Froggin, definitely.
But yeah, so we are seeing a pause come down. And like we've been saying all game, XMS are still in the driver's seat of this match. However, I don't want to take it away from Team Coastal. They are still in this game. If they can use that paranoia to be able to lock down an opponent from XMS, oh I almost forgot the team name, then it could be huge. Even though, like, if they are able to lock down that one opponent...
Torky Porky getting caught.
Yeah, and Kirito going a bit aggressive here. He's gonna pop that W to try and get the slow off. Unspeakable horror. Oh, he's gonna get the engage on him. Cataclysm being landed on the Torky. Porky being locked down. Paranoia being used there. He's gonna try to get some return damage before he dies. Ooh, he's gonna be able to escape at that one. Final hour being used. Blackstar actually dealing some decent damage, but it's not gonna be enough. Crescendo landing across 3 members there. Command shockwave across 3 members, and 6 gonna be taken down there by Calvin. And Korea's in the middle of the fight there. He has to be careful. And Ruckus jumping into the back line right there. And we are seeing Santa engaging down on the Calvin behind their turret to be able to secure that kill. We're seeing Ruckus a bit behind enemy lines right here. Kirito isn't going to spot him.
Torky Porky not quite manly enough for that one. Earlier he was at 200 health and completely just ulted into 3 people, and it was actually it worked pretty well. They all ran away and Vayne was in the front taking all the damage. Vayne not quite able to focus down one person long enough to proc the silver bolts, and we see that Coastal switch their focus really well to just jump on that Vayne immediately.
Yeah, and right now there is a 10k gold lead for XMS at 25 minutes in the game. This is huge for them. They want to push. They want to push this advantage, grab objectives, grab kills whenever they can, and it's really up to Team Coastal right now to try and farm up best as they can so that Ruckus can get to that late game stage of Tristana. With their team comp right now, Calvin is playing a really strong Orianna. We saw in that last fight he was actually able to deal a lot of damage with that command shockwave and that command dissonance. So Team Coastal is definitely not out of this game.
Yeah, I definitely agree. His Orianna ults have been devastating to the enemy team. Vayne's going to pick up a full wave on top, but what do you think at this point? Do you think they could Baron if they clear again?
I definitely think that XMS has, I guess you could say, the scare factor. Team Coastal should be worried about fighting. They want to pick their fights. They do not want to engage onto something and think, hey, we might win this, we might not. They want to go into a fight knowing that, hey, we can win this fight. Because at this point, XMS is in the lead. They do have the item advantage. They do have the levels and the map pressure and the vision all across. So
yeah, the map is basically theirs, and we'll see if Korea gets caught. Doesn't look like she will be. I
definitely think right now that if XMS were to go for a Baron right now, they would be able to secure it. But that would be an open opportunity. Oh, we are seeing Blackstar going a bit aggressive here onto Hybrid. Final hour being pumped for Korea here. Paranoia being used onto him. The Aqua Prison going to be blocked by that Shroud of Darkness. Destiny Gate being used. Cataclysm blocking up 3 members. The Crescendo blocking up the entire team of XMS. The Command Shockwave only landing across 1 member. Porky is going to be the first one to drop. Blackstar going to be the next target of choice for XMS Gaming.
Oh, that was a heartbreaking fight because all the ultimates were so great. The Sona landed a 4-person crescendo, and even though they're called Team Coastal, I mean, there's no elements on this team for sure. It's just so much. Oh, there it goes.
Ooh.
Oh,
That red buff being able to finish off Ruckus right there, securing Korea another kill, and it looks like XMS are just gonna push their advantage right here. 8 seconds now until Nocturne respawns. They're gonna be able to pick up this inhib. They might look to press their advantage, and that's exactly what they're gonna do. They're gonna try and take out some Nexus turrets right here, and honestly,
yeah, 20 seconds on Rux. I think they've got the time to take at least a turret if they don't go down too quickly.
and they are being a bit careful here. Calvin, ooh, getting dropped to about quarter health right there, and XMS is just gonna back off from that one.
You know, a really vital thing about that point was that in the middle of all of that action, Epic Magnus actually dropped down a ward in the brush that normally doesn't get pinged.
Hybrid is sitting on an Oracle Elixir right now.
Oh,
so
he's behind it.
yeah, he's wants to be able to make sure that his team is going to have a safe Baron. They don't want to take any chances even though they are ahead. They do have a 15k gold lead. But like we've been talking about, Team Coastal, if they're able to land their ultimates and be able to get Ruckus to deal as much damage as possible, they'll be able to easily win a team fight if they're able to catch off XMS Gaming at Baron.
You know, Kirito was just at bottom. That would have been a prime place to pick a fight right there.
Gold card
Looks like they still might.
XMS being a bit caught out here by Calvin. And he's gonna lock in that gold card. So if anyone gets a bit close to him, final hour being used by Porky right there, or Korea rather. The shockwave was used, but Porky got condemned away, so he wasn't able to do anything with that. Korea being crescendoed up, gonna secure them a kill. Buster shot gonna be able to knock away Sick, and a 1-for-1.
And jungler for ADC, that's totally perfect because now XMS cannot afford to push in with their main source of damage gone.
Yeah, that's also we can say though, Porky, there is no smite down.
Ooh.
Oh, the Cataclysm! As well as the wild cards being able to take down Sick there. Destiny being used into that gate. Ooh, Sick rather, not quite able to land that gold card on the Sona, but he's gonna get it onto Calvin. Secure a kill for Santa right there. And XMS could look to push onto this Baron.
Yeah, Sick just landed a 600 damage auto attack on a Tristana with 30 magic resist. That's pretty insane right there. Hopefully he doesn't die Baron.
Yeah, XMS right now, pushing their game just a bit harder. They are 15k gold lead ahead. They've been in the driver's seat this entire game, really. And I honestly think they've been playing this extremely well.
Yeah, you see a lot of map pressure coming out almost constantly, even with the wards going down. Coastal is struggling just to clear the waves to get to their base.
And Hybrid gonna take out a ward right there, just continuing the ward coverage and just the advantage of the map for XMS Gaming right here. And at this point, really, XMS could end this game whenever they want. I'm not gonna say that it's completely that Team Coastal is completely out of this one. It's just that XMS has the opportunity right now with the Baron buff available. Ooh.
Oh.
Not quite able to finish off Magnus right there. And we are seeing, a fight over the wall going here. Rocket's getting jumped real low. Paranoia being used on a Korea. He's going to condemn him away, though. Korea, the unspeakable horror being landed onto there.
Oh.
And Santa's just going to flash away from that one. He was able to secure a kill onto Calvin. And Korea did end up dropping also.
We'll see if they're still willing to team fight. One AoE ult down for an ADC, and it looks like they are. They're going to go in and dive on this tower.
Yeah, Rocket's using that rocket jump, and Kirito says, hey, use rocket jump, I'm going to use Cataclysm. Because there's no other way to escape, for him to escape the Cataclysm other than Flash, which he doesn't have available.
Oh.
And right now, XMS just roaming around Team Coastal's jungle. They They are just looking to keep up this pressure, and Kirito's gonna look to catch a Blackstar here. He is relatively low. However, we do have to take into account that Riven is a very jumpy champion, I guess you could say. The
But
broken
she
wing.
only has level 1 boots!
Oh,
Oh, she missed the dash!
and the combo coming in from Kirito right there. The Blackstar will surely fall. It's just a matter of time here.
Now.
Yeah, Kirito grabbing that last hit. XMS is just going to pick up that dragon for a little bit more gold for their team. And Santa is tanking the tower right now while fighting Porky. He is really tanky.
With 260 armor, I think you can afford to take a few extra tower hits there with, yep, 3,800 health. It's a monster of a beast.
Now we're at 33 minutes into this game right now, and XMS is just going to pick up another dragon here. I think at this point XMS might be having a bit of a problem finishing this game. They do have the Baron buff, which when you do have Baron buff is an optimum. It is a very very good opportunity to push your advantage and hopefully bring down towers, because you do have a lot of regeneration and an extra AD and AP bonus. So it's very, very helpful in sieging towers as well as taking poke and dishing out poke. So
And you know, I think one of the biggest things that teams have trouble with, apart from individual skill play, is being able to close out those games and knowing when to do what they have to. They were fine on taking the dragons, they were fine on taking the barons and getting picks, but now when it comes down to pushing into the base, they're just getting their feet wet. They can hardly push in with a minute left on barons. Something has to happen in these next 2 minutes.
yeah, it's XMS is pressing their advantage. We're seeing Paranoia go down into sick in the bottom lane. He's going to use the Shroud of Darkness to be able to block off that gold card here. XMS dropping really low. He's going to be the first one to fall. Kirito is extremely tanky, but that tidal wave going across, only knocking up Blackstar here. But Santa getting that elastic slingshot. The Cataclysm being used there. Korea getting dropped really low. The Dissonance being used. He's going to drop the Blackstar there. But Calvin is going to be in the middle of a fight there, trying to dish out as much damage as possible. Kirito going to try to finish him off there, but not quite though. Santa sticking on the Ruckus here, and Blackstar does have that. I'm not quite sure what that Riven ultimate's called, but does have that red buff to be able to slow down Kirito as much as possible. They'll re-engage there. Blackstar getting dropped really low, and he's not quite gonna drop yet.
Riven the marathon runner.
Yeah,
and yeah, that entire fight. Oh, it was actually really interesting because Rux was so far away. She was actually pushing top lane. And Sona's Crescendo gave them enough time to get back and focus down the Vayne in time to completely team fight. That was an amazing turnaround for a team with Baron buff.
See, that's what Team Coastal has to do this game. They have to get the picks with the Paranoia, as well as the Crescendos and Blackstar and Riven being able to jump into those fights. That's exactly what they did there. They caught out Sick. He was not in that fight, and they also spotted that Korea was at a position there, and the beautiful command Shockwave coming out from Calvin was able to do enough damage to be able to secure them that kill. Just Santa and Kirito right now are extremely tanky. So
yeah, I definitely think that Korea's early aggression was great, and you know, it won them the lane with great kills, but at this point she needs to just play safer.
we are seeing Team Coastal just retreating back into their base. XMS is hovering around that Baron. I'm not quite sure when that's back up, but I don't think it's up anytime soon within the next 3 minutes. So right now we are seeing Korea on Vayne with a Blade of the Ruin King, a Phantom Dancer, a Last Whisper, and it looks like he's going to be building that Zephyr. He does have the Stinger and that pickaxe available. It's going to be granting him a lot of extra attack speed, movement speed, attack damage, and cooldown reduction. The biggest part of Zephyr is that tenacity. So 80 carries can opt to go for that Zephyr and not have to worry about Merc Treads if there's going to be a lot of CC. Paranoia being
Here's the fight.
Hybrid is going to get caught out by that Paranoia though, but his team is around him here. Blackstar getting dropped about half. Santa gonna use that last bounce onto 2 members of Team Coastal right there. He's gonna flash over the wall, try to finish off Ruckus. The elastic slingshot is gonna be enough there. We are seeing the Aqua Prison landing onto Calvin right now. That gold card being able to finish off Calvin there. And a great turnaround fight there by XMS Gaming. And if they're able to pick up Blackstar here, he's getting dropped really low. He surely will fall right now. I think XMS could finish off the game right here.
Definitely. They came, they saw, they aced. Nocturne wasting that ult a bit on the support, leaving his entire team open. And even though Ruck's positioning was pretty perfect right there, sitting at Wolf Camp and then dodging out, the pressure from Santa was just way too much, and that fight was pretty far gone.
XMS Gaming are focusing on that second Nexus turret, getting that to about half. There is 6 seconds on Ruckus. The cooldown or the respawn times are by no means really high, but it looks like XMS is gonna focus their auto attack onto the Nexus here, and they are gonna take this game. XMS Gaming picking up a win against Team Coastal Gaming.
GG goes down, and that'll be the game in the losers bracket.
So we are going to take a short break really quickly, and we're going to get back with our last game of the day, which will be Russ is looking for a date going up against the Elite Crew. So we'll be right back with that one. The Amateur Open, I hope you guys will stick around to see this exciting conclusion of day one. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Cheers.